They are still the most sought after cruises of the year, and it's always best to book early. Time to plan your 2027 Alaskan cruise, and who better to take you there than Princess? 2025 and 2026 cruises sold out at record pace. The time to reserve 2027 is now, and we're going to show you the best of the best. My name's Andrew, and welcome back to Tidal Horizons. We're your go-to source on YouTube for cruise news, reviews, and informational videos, and we're a bit of an expert on Princess cruises, so let's get started. Cruising Alaska for over 50 years, winning multiple awards for Best Cruise Line, Princess is the leader in Alaska. Let's look at their 2027 Alaska program, from the ships to the cruise tours to the itineraries. We'll also look at some of the lesser traveled ports of call. Alaska is a nature's lover's dream with abundant wildlife on both land and sea. As soon as you set sail, keep watch for humpback and orca whales, seals, and otters. Along the shore, watch for bears, moose, and other species. Alaska also has a rich history of exploration and, of course, gold mining, being the gateway to the Yukon's Klondike region. Of course, let's not forget the stars of the show, the glaciers. Many cruises feature Glacier Bay National Park, where you'll spend a full day scenic cruising to the heart of the park, where you can observe icebergs and calving glaciers in action. Princess will have 8 ships operating in Alaska in 2027, with at least one ship representing each class of ship that Princess is currently running. First, we'll start off with the small ships in the Coral class, and quite frankly, one of my favorites in the Island Princess and the Coral Princess. While I haven't been on the Coral since 2008, I did spend a considerable amount of time on board her twin sister, the Island Princess, in the fall of 2023. I love this size of ship. She's large enough to have all the hallmarks of a princess ship, from the restaurants to the entertainment, without feeling like you're constantly hiking the length of a football field to get anywhere. I really hope these 2 ships stay in the fleet for years to come. The class of ship that redefined modern princess fleet, the Grand class. The Grand Princess won't be in Alaska this year, but instead replaced by the Crown Princess, which debuted in 2006 and carries 3,080 passengers. Next, the Emerald Princess, the second to last of the Grand Class ships delivered in 2007, and finally the Ruby Princess, the last of the Grand Class ships delivered to Princess in 2008. What I absolutely love about these 3 ships is they have a complete promenade deck that includes a walkway on deck 8 around the bow of the ship for incredible views. This is something sorely lacking on newer ships, and definitely a reason to book your cruise on one of these 3 ships. There's nothing like cruising through Alaska with these vantage points. The Royal Princess is at the larger end of the scale, 3,560 passengers. She and the Discovery Princess are the newest ships Princess has in Alaska in 2025, but not in 2027. They are both Royal Class ships, with the Discovery Princess being the final one delivered in 2022. If you're looking for a suite, the forward-facing suites on deck 9 through 12 are an outstanding way to see Alaska from your bedroom, especially as you sail into Glacier Bay. Finally, the brand new Sphere class is represented again in Alaska in 2027 by the Star Princess. She debuted in October 2025 and brings a modern design to Alaska with more windows and an outward-looking design that will be game-changing. If you haven't had a look at the Sphere class yet, check out my Sun Princess review after this video. With LNG power and the most modern systems available, she'll have a lower environmental impact than most ships. We can't wait to see the real thing beside the glaciers. We're going to move into the itineraries now, but it's a great time to give you a reminder to like this video and subscribe so you can see more news, reviews, and planning videos. Need help planning your next cruise? Contact information is in the description of this video, as well as our newsletter sign up. We're going to look now at the itinerary variations this year, including some of the one-off cruises that might appeal to you. Let's first jump into the 7-day northbound and southbound trips on board Discovery, Island, Coral, and Crown Princess. This is your classic 7-day Alaskan cruise with 2 scenic cruising periods in Glacier Bay and College Fjord, and only 1 sea day. Many people taking the north or south cruise and not a round trip are combining with a land package to make a cruise tour. We aren't going to go very in-depth on the cruise tour packages because they're very involved and there are so many variations. What I will say is Princess does this part better than anyone, with a direct to the wilderness train service, numerous lodges in Denali, Mount McKinley, Copper River, and more. A cruise tour is the absolute best way to see Alaska. If you do choose to start or finish your cruise in Whittier, you should know that it's approximately an hour and a half from the port to the airport. Let's move on and look at the round trip options now. We'll cover all the ports in the next few sections. We're going to look at the round trip from Vancouver voyages with the Crown, the Emerald, and the Discovery Princesses all sailing this itinerary. Vancouver is one of the easiest cities to sail from with abundant hotels steps from the cruise port. It's also one of the most scenic departures as you sail under the Lionsgate Bridge. A highlight port on this itinerary is Juneau, Alaska, the capital city with a population of about 31,000 people. The port area is filled with shops and attractions. You can also ride the Mount Roberts Tramway, Alaska's only aerial tramway, but the highlight of the region is the easily accessible Mendenhall Glacier, one of Alaska's most visited attractions. There are excellent visitor centers and easy walking and hiking paths to take you close to the glacier. Often you can find package excursions with the glaciers combined with whale watching. It's usually a peak time for humpback whales during the cruise season. If you prefer, there's also round-trip 7-day cruises from Seattle on board the Royal Princess with scenic cruising in Glacier Bay. Port order varies, but you'll usually be treated to a stop in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. Nicknamed the City of Gardens, you can walk for miles amongst the flowers and the green spaces, go for tea at the Empress Hotel, and hop on a local boat to go whale watching for orcas. The cruise terminal is less than a 1 kilometer easy walk away from the harbor area of Victoria, where major attractions can be found. Finally, you can cruise on board the brand new Star Princess, sister ship to the Sun Princess, a round trip from Seattle. This cruise stops at the same ports as the Royal Princess, but cruises Endicott and Dawes Glaciers rather than Glacier Bay. The real attraction here is going to be the ship itself. Before we move on to the longer cruises, let's have a quick run through of some of the one-off cruises that you can take. These can be great if you want a little longer or a little shorter than your standard 7-day cruise. First, if you're in the Vancouver area, a quick 4-day sail on April 27th, 2027, up to Ketchikan and back on board the Crown Princess. Perhaps a day of fishing. Next, Coral Princess will be doing a 6-day voyage on September 16th, 2027. This cruise skips Ketchikan, otherwise the same as a 7-day. This is a really appealing 7-day round trip from Vancouver that visits Glacier Bay. It's one of the only ones of that year, and it's on September 7th. Of course, you can do a similar trip all season from Seattle. Star Princess will be making a call to Vancouver at the end of its September 26th 7-day inside passage from Seattle. That's a great way to visit both cities. When doing 7 days just isn't quite enough, Coral Princess will also be doing an 8-night voyage from Vancouver that also includes Icy Strait Point before returning to Vancouver. This cruise departs September 8th, 2027. And when 8 isn't enough, there are 2 sailings of this 9-day itinerary, sailing round trip from Vancouver aboard the Discovery or Crown Princess, a visit to the Hubbard Glacier, followed by Sitka, Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan. And Star Princess gets in on the action with a 9-day sailing from Vancouver to Seattle, with 2 scenic cruising days at Hubbard Glacier and Endicott and Dawes Glacier on April 30th. For me, a 10-day Alaska cruise is perfect, and there are 2 options here. The first one is a one-off cruise on board the Royal Princess from Seattle to Vancouver on September 11th, 2027, that includes Icy Strait Point, Sitka, and Victoria, plus 1 day of scenic cruising. The other runs all season, round trip from San Francisco on board Ruby Princess, and hits all the right targets. You'll of course visit Ketchikan, Juneau, and Skagway, and do scenic cruising along the Endicott Arm and Dawes Glacier. The Canadian port on this voyage is Prince Rupert, British Columbia. Rather than visiting Victoria or Vancouver, Prince Rupert is located near the British Columbia and Alaska borders, and it's the gateway to the Great Bear Rainforest. Hiking, whale watching, sea kayaks, and more are key activities in the area. You can also ride the rails or connect with the First Nations indigenous population. There's a ton to see and do in this rarely visited Pacific port. Another great option for a longer cruise is to fully explore the primary Alaska ports. is the 14-day inside passage from Vancouver with Glacier Bay twice on board the Island, Coral, Crown, or Discovery Princesses. These are duplicate ports during this itinerary, but it all depends on what you're looking for. You'll be stopping at the major Alaska cruise ports, as well as 2 stops at Glacier Bay and Skagway, which is a town right out of the gold rush. The highlight for many in Skagway is the White Pass and Yukon Railway. There are a few different options here to take the train up to the White Pass or for hikers who just want to lift up the hill. It's a scenic journey not to be forgotten. The town itself is worth exploring with a fantastic little museum, shops, and of course the famous Red Onion Saloon, an 1890s brothel turned museum and restaurant. Well worth a visit. Take a walking tour of the town, get to know the history. This is where the real gold rush started from. Twice in this cruise, a visit to the unbelievable Glacier Bay National Park. Most ships will visit the Marjorie and the Grand Pacific glaciers on top of the bay, right at the Alaska and Yukon border, followed by the Hopkins Glacier. The whole day is narrated by the National Park Service with rangers on board to answer your questions and to stamp your National Parks passports if you wish. Just have a look at this view. Ketchikan is known for a lot of things, but most important is fishing. It's the salmon capital of the world. In September 2021, we took a salmon fishing excursion while on board the Majestic Princess, caught quite a few fish, and were able to bring back a beautiful silver salmon, packed in ice with the appropriate documentation filled out by our charter captain. We were met by representatives on board who took the fish and our preferences to the chef, where it was prepared and served to us the following night. What a treat. Finally, the longest itinerary for 2027, this 16-day trip from Los Angeles hits most of the major ports, but unlike the previous one from San Francisco, we're also going to visit Sitka and Icy Strait Point. Icy Strait Point, Alaska is a very small port, only 750 residents, and is rich in native heritage. There are lots of tours available, include the world's largest zip rider from the top of Hoonah Mountain, 1,550 feet above sea level, back down to the beach. It's over 5,000 feet of zip line to get down. If you don't get your fill at Icy Strait Point, that's okay, because Sitka's next. Sitka is the only accessible by air, and it offers fantastic scenery, fishing, hiking opportunities. Learn about native culture, visit the Alaska Raptor Center, or go whale watching. There's a ton to do here. Alaska truly has something for everyone, and I can't wait to return soon, perhaps in 2027, and check out some of the lesser traveled ports and the Princess Lodges we've talked about here. While there are lots of cruise lines to choose from, Princess for me is the expert here and really does it right. You can't go wrong. So, what do you love about Alaska? Are you planning to visit? Leave a comment, let us know. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a hype, subscribe to the channel, and remember that links are available in the description of this video to contact us to help you book your next cruise or to join our newsletter. Thanks for watching.